There's a giant inside you. Not a metaphor. Not a comfortable self-help concept. A reality. A force so powerful, so immense, so unstoppable that everything in your life has conspired to keep it buried. Your parents told you to be realistic. Society taught you to fit in. Your fears convinced you to stay small. Your doubts whispered that you weren't capable. And slowly, carefully, systematically, you learned to suppress the giant. You learned to walk quietly, speak softly, dream smaller, want less, expect little, accept limitations, play it safe, stay comfortable, remain invisible. You became an expert at hiding your power. But here's what they never told you. The giant doesn't die. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't fade away. It waits, buried deep, dormant, hungry, growing stronger in the darkness, waiting for the moment when you finally remember what you truly are. And that moment is now. This is not a book about becoming powerful. You already are powerful. This is about remembering, about awakening, about rising. The Titan rises, and nothing can stop what's coming. Chapter 1, The Burial. Let's start with the truth. You weren't born suppressed. You weren't born small. You weren't born afraid. Watch a 3-year-old child. They believe they can fly. They think they can be anything. Astronaut, superhero, president, dragon, all before breakfast. They have no concept of limitation. No understanding of realistic. No fear of looking foolish. That child is operating from their natural state. Pure, unbridled, magnificent power. Then the world begins its work. Don't be so loud. First, suppression. That's not realistic. First, limitation. What will people think? First, external validation. You can't do that. First, imprisonment. Layer by layer, year by year, the world teaches you to be less, to want less, to dream less, to be less. Your teachers told you to color inside the lines. Your parents told you to choose a safe career. Your friends told you not to stand out too much. Society told you to conform. Your failures told you to stop trying. Your critics told you to give up. And eventually, you believed them. You learned that expressing your full power made others uncomfortable. That being too confident was arrogant. That wanting too much was greedy. That standing out was dangerous. So you buried it. The giant, the power, the magnitude of what you truly are. You told yourself it was mature, realistic, wise. But it wasn't. It was surrender. And the giant went underground. But here's what happened while it was buried. It didn't weaken. It didn't shrink. It grew, fed by every time you held back, every time you played small, every time you said I can't when you meant I'm afraid to. The suppressed power accumulated, compressed, intensified, like a volcano building pressure beneath the earth. And now it's ready to erupt. You feel it, don't you? The restlessness, the dissatisfaction, the knowing that you're capable of so much more, the rage at how small you've been playing, the hunger for something greater. That's the giant, stirring, rumbling, rising. The question is not whether it will rise. It's rising right now. The question is whether you'll help it or fight it. Most people fight it. They're terrified of their own power, scared of what might happen if they let the giant out. Afraid of judgment, failure, responsibility, success, all of it. So they push it down, distract themselves, stay busy with meaningless tasks, numb themselves with entertainment, keep the giant sedated with comfort and routine. But you can't sedate a titan forever. Eventually it breaks through, sometimes as a midlife crisis, sometimes as depression, sometimes as rage, sometimes as illness. The giant will be acknowledged, one way or another. You have a choice. You can let it erupt chaotically, destroying everything in its path. Or you can guide it, channel it, rise with it, This book is about the second option: controlled ascension, deliberate rising, conscious power. The burial is over. The rising begins. Chapter 2. The chains. Before the Titan can rise, we must understand what keeps it down. These are not physical chains. They're psychological, emotional, spiritual, but they're just as real and just as strong. Let me name them. The 5 chains that bind your power. The chain of approval. This is the first and strongest chain. It wraps around your throat, controlling what you say and don't say. Around your heart, controlling what you feel and don't feel. Around your hands, controlling what you do and don't do. This chain whispers constantly. What will they think? What will they say? Will they approve? Will they accept you? Will they like you? And so you shape yourself to please others. You mold your personality to fit their expectations. You suppress the parts of yourself that might cause disapproval. You perform. You pretend. You please. All while the giant inside you screams in frustration. Here's the truth. You will never get universal approval. Never. Some people will love you. Some will hate you. Most won't think about you at all. And none of that has anything to do with your worth or your power. The approval chain must break. Not because approval is bad, but because seeking it as your primary driver means giving everyone else control over your life. The chain of comfort. Comfort is seductive. It promises safety, security, ease, no pain, no risk, no fear, just comfort. And comfort is death. The giant within you doesn't want comfort. It wants challenge. It wants growth. It wants to test itself against impossibility and emerge victorious. But comfort whispers, stay here. It's safe. Why risk it? Why try? Why struggle? Just stay comfortable. Just stay safe. And so you stay in the job you hate because it's familiar. The relationship that's mediocre because it's comfortable. The city that bores you because it's safe. The life that's killing you slowly because it's comfortable. Comfort is not your friend. Comfort is your captor. It keeps you small. It keeps you weak. It keeps you caged. The giant rises through discomfort, through challenge, through difficulty. Every time you choose growth over comfort, the chain weakens. The chain of fear. Fear is the most obvious chain. It screams loudly. Don't do that. You'll fail. You'll look stupid. You'll get hurt. You'll be rejected. You'll lose everything. Fear is loud because it's desperate. It knows that if you ever truly faced it, you'd realize it's mostly lies. Most of what you fear will never happen. The rejection you're terrified of probably won't occur. And if it does, you'll survive. The failure you're avoiding is actually data and experience in disguise. The judgment you're running from comes from people too afraid to try what you're trying. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is a signpost. It points directly at where you need to go. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. But instead of using fear as a compass, you've let it become a cage. You've let it decide where you can and cannot go. You've given it veto power over your life. The giant doesn't eliminate fear. The giant walks through fear, feels it fully, acknowledges it, then acts anyway. The chain of doubt. Doubt is the quietest chain. It doesn't scream like fear. It murmurs. Are you sure? Maybe you're not capable. Maybe you're not smart enough, strong enough, good enough. Maybe you should just give up now before you embarrass yourself. Doubt is insidious because it sounds reasonable. It sounds like wisdom, like being realistic, like protecting yourself from disappointment. But doubt is a liar. It has no interest in truth. It only wants to keep you exactly where you are. Where does doubt come from? From everyone who gave up on their own dreams and now wants you to give up on yours. From every time you tried and failed without understanding that failure is part of the path. From comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. From believing other people's limitations apply to you. Doubt feeds on lack of evidence. So the cure is simple. Create evidence. Do the thing. Take the action. Build the proof. Stack small wins until doubt has nothing left to say. The chain of distraction. This is the modern chain. The newest. The most effective. Scroll. Swipe. Click. Consume. Watch. Listen. Escape. Endlessly. Distraction is brilliant in its simplicity. It doesn't need to convince you that you're incapable. It just needs to keep you so busy consuming other people's lives that you never build your own. 3 hours on social media. 2 hours watching other people live their dreams on TV. 1 hour scrolling through news designed to make you anxious. Another hour on video games or streaming services. And suddenly another day is gone. Another week. Another month. Another year. And the giant inside you starves for attention while you feed the algorithm. Distraction is not relaxation. Distraction is avoidance. It's numbing. It's escaping the discomfort of actually building something meaningful. The giant rises through focused attention, through deep work, through creation instead of consumption, through building instead of scrolling. These 5 chains, approval, comfort, fear, doubt, distraction, are what keep most people suppressed their entire lives. They live and die never knowing their own power, never unleashing the giant, never rising. But not you. You're different. You feel the chains, and feeling them is the first step to breaking them. Chapter 3. The Awakening. The awakening doesn't happen all at once. It's not a single moment. It's a series of moments. Each one cracking the shell a little more. Each one letting more light in. For some, it starts with pain. A crisis. A loss. A breakdown. Something that shatters the comfortable illusion and forces them to face reality. The job ends. The relationship implodes. The health fails. And suddenly, the comfortable cage is gone. And in that space of devastation, the giant stirs. For others, it starts with rage. A slow-building fury at how small they've been playing, at how much potential they've wasted, at how many years they've spent seeking approval, choosing comfort, obeying fear, believing doubt, and losing themselves in distraction. The rage builds until it can't be contained anymore. And the giant feeds on that rage, uses it as fuel. For some, it starts with inspiration. They see someone else living at full power. Someone who broke their chains. Someone who let their giant out. And they think, if they can do it, why can't I? And that question becomes a spark. And the spark becomes a flame. And the flame awakens the giant. For few, it starts with a simple decision. A quiet moment where they look at their life and simply say, no more. I'm done playing small. I'm done hiding. I'm done pretending. The giant rises. Today, however it starts, the awakening follows a pattern. Let me show you the stages. Stage 1, discomfort. Something feels wrong. Your life looks fine on paper. Maybe you have the job, the relationship, the house, the routine. But something is OFF. There's a restlessness, a dissatisfaction, a sense that you're living someone else's life. This is the giant beginning to wake, pushing against the walls of the cage, creating friction, discomfort, unease. Most people try to medicate this discomfort. They buy things, change jobs, start new relationships, travel, anything to make the feeling go away. But it doesn't go away, because it's not a problem to fix. It's a message to hear. The giant is saying, this is too small. I need more. Stage 2, questioning. You start questioning everything. The beliefs you've held, the choices you've made, the life you're living. Is this really what I want? Is this really who I am? Am I living in my life or the life others expected? These questions are terrifying because they don't have easy answers, and they threaten the entire structure you've built, but they're necessary. The giant can't rise while you're clinging to structures built for someone small. The questioning dismantles those structures. Make space for something bigger. Stage 3 glimpses. You start catching glimpses of your power. Moments when the giant pushes through. You speak truth in a meeting and everyone listens. You take a risk and it pays off. You say no to something that doesn't serve you and feel a surge of strength. You create something and realize it's actually good. These glimpses are intoxicating. They show you what's possible, what's been buried, what's trying to emerge. But they're also dangerous, because now you know. You can't unknow. You can't go back to pretending you're small. You've tasted power, and the giant wants more. Stage 4 resistance. This is where most people get stuck, because right when the awakening accelerates, the resistance intensifies. All 5 chains tighten. Fear screams louder. Doubt multiplies. The need for approval intensifies. Comfort calls more seductively. Distractions become more tempting. Why? Because the old self is fighting for survival. The small self knows it's being replaced, and it will do everything to stay in control. This is the dark night, the moment when you question whether the awakening is worth it, whether you should just go back to sleep, play small again, return to the cage. This is where most people quit. They hit resistance and interpret it as a sign they're on the wrong path. So they retreat, bury the giant again, go back to sleep. But resistance isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're on the right path. The resistance comes because you're breaking through, because the giant is rising, because transformation is happening. The only way through resistance is through, not around, not back, through. Stage 5 breakthrough. And then, if you persist, if you keep pushing, if you refuse to go back to sleep, something shifts. The resistance breaks. The chains crack. The giant breaks through the surface. And suddenly you're more powerful, more authentic, more alive, more you than you've ever been. This breakthrough doesn't mean the work is done. It means the work has truly begun. Because now you have to learn to live as the giant, to wield your power, to walk in your magnitude, to take up the space you're meant to occupy. But you can't unknow what you now know. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel the power you've felt. The giant has risen, and there's no going back. Chapter 4, the first roar. The moment of awakening is one thing. Learning to live as the awakened giant is another. Most people, when they first taste their power, make one of 2 mistakes. They either hoard it, afraid to fully express it, or they unleash it recklessly, without wisdom or direction. The first roar is about finding the balance, using your voice, expressing your power, but with intention, with purpose, with control. Let's talk about what this actually means. Speaking your truth. For years, you've been careful with your words. Diplomatic, agreeable, non-threatening. You've said what others wanted to hear. Avoided controversy. Kept your real opinions hidden. The giant doesn't do that. The giant speaks truth. Not to be cruel, not to dominate, but because truth is power, and hiding truth is suppression. This doesn't mean becoming an asshole. It means becoming honest. When you disagree, you say so. When something doesn't work for you, you express it. When you have an insight, you share it. When boundaries are needed, you state them. You stop cushioning everything in niceties and apologies. You stop hedging and qualifying. You speak with clarity, with certainty, with the voice of someone who knows their words have value. At first, this feels dangerous, exposed, vulnerable. People will be surprised. Some will be uncomfortable. A few might get angry. Let them. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your truth is. Claiming your space. The small self makes itself physically small. Hunched posture. Minimal movement. Apologizing for existing. Taking up as little space as possible. The giant does the opposite. Stand tall. Shoulders back. Chest open. Head high. Take up appropriate space. Move deliberately. Walk with purpose. Sit like you belong everywhere you go. Because you do. This is not arrogance. This is presence. This is embodying your power physically. Watch how people respond. They treat you differently. They give you more respect, more attention, more space. Why? Because you're finally taking the space that was always yours, making bold moves. The small self deliberates endlessly, seeks permission, waits for the perfect moment, overthinks every decision. The giant acts, not recklessly, but decisively. The giant sees an opportunity and moves, sees a problem and addresses it, wants something and pursues it, doesn't wait for permission or perfect conditions. Your first roar might be quitting the job that's been draining you, starting the business you've been dreaming about, ending the relationship that's been holding you back, moving to the city you've always wanted, creating the art you've been suppressing, having the conversation you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, it's bold. It's significant. It's the kind of move that the small self would never make. And that's the point. The first roar announces to the world and to yourself, I am no longer playing small. The giant has risen, and nothing will be the same. Handling the backlash. Here's what they don't tell you about rising. Not everyone will celebrate it. Some people have a vested interest in keeping you small. Your power threatens their comfort. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Your boldness makes them confront their own fear. So they'll try to pull you back down. You've changed. As if that's bad. You're not the same person. Thank God. You're being selfish. Translation. You're no longer prioritizing their needs over yours. You're arrogant. Translation. You're confident, and it makes them uncomfortable. The first roar brings backlash. Always. Without exception. This is the test. Will you shrink back to make them comfortable? Will you apologize for your power? Will you dim your light so they feel better about their darkness? Or will you keep rising? The giant doesn't shrink. Ever. For anyone. You can be kind. You can be compassionate. You can understand their discomfort. But you don't make yourself small to accommodate it. Some relationships will end. Some people will leave. Some bridges will burn. This is not failure. This is pruning. The dead weight falls away, so you can rise faster. And here's what's beautiful. As some people leave, others arrive. People who resonate with your power, who celebrate your rising, who want to rise with you. Your tribe finds you when you stop hiding. The first wins, and then something happens. The bold moves start paying off. The truth-speaking opens doors. The space-claiming commands respect. The giant's power produces results. You land the opportunity. You create the thing. You achieve the goal. You become the person. Not because you tried to, but because you stopped trying not to. These first wins are crucial. They're evidence. They prove to your doubting mind that the giant is real, that the power is real, that you are actually capable of what you sensed you were capable of. Stack these wins. Celebrate them. Record them. Because when doubt comes back, and it will, you'll need this evidence. You'll need proof that the giant is real and rising. The first roar is not the loudest, but it's the most important. It's the declaration, the line in the sand, the point of no return. Before the first roar, the giant was dormant. After the first roar, the giant is awake, and a titan awakened cannot be put back to sleep. Chapter 5, The Climb. Rising is not a single leap. It's a climb. long, difficult, demanding, with plateaus and setbacks and moments when you question whether you can continue. But here's what separates those who reach the summit from those who give up halfway: understanding that the climb itself is the transformation. You don't climb the mountain and then become powerful. You become powerful by climbing the mountain. Let's talk about how to climb. Daily discipline. The giant rises through daily practice. Not occasional inspiration, not sporadic effort. Daily, relentless, consistent. Every morning, you face a choice. Small self or giant self. Comfort or growth. Scrolling or building. The choice seems trivial. It's just one day. Just one decision. But those daily choices compound. 365 days of choosing the giant equals a completely different person. A completely different life. A completely different level of power. So you establish non-negotiables. The things you do every day regardless of how you feel. Maybe it's meditation, training, creating, reading, writing, whatever builds your power, whatever strengthens the giant. And you do them every single day. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Every day. Because discipline is the ladder you climb. Progressive overload. In the gym, you get stronger by progressively increasing resistance. You lift heavier, do more reps, push harder. The same principle applies to life. The giant grows through progressive challenge. If public speaking terrifies you, you don't start by keynoting a conference. You speak up in a small meeting, then a larger one. Then you volunteer for presentation, then a bigger audience, then bigger. Each step builds capacity. If starting a business overwhelms you, you don't launch a corporation tomorrow. You start with a side project, then a client, then another, then you scale. Each step builds capability. Progressive overload. Always pushing slightly beyond your current capacity. Not so far that you break, but far enough that you grow. The mistake most people make: they try to leap. They want the end result now. Giant power today. So they attempt something massively beyond their current capacity, fail, and interpret it as evidence they're not capable. But that's not how strength works. You can't lift 400 pounds on day one. You build to it. Rep by rep, day by day. Patiently, persistently. The same with the giant. You build to it. Risk by risk. Challenge by challenge. Day by day. Embracing plateaus. Here's what no one tells you about the climb. Most of it doesn't feel like progress. Most of it is plateau. You're working hard, pushing, trying, and nothing seems to change. This is where most people quit. They interpret the plateau as evidence that it's not working, that they're not growing, that they should try something else. But the plateau is the work. Beneath the surface, while nothing seems to change, everything is changing. Your capacity is building. Your strength is accumulating. Your foundation is solidifying. And then suddenly breakthrough. Not because you did something different, because the accumulation reached critical mass. Think of it like heating water. You apply heat. The temperature rises. 50 degrees. 60, 70, 80, 90. Nothing particularly interesting happens. It's just warming. And then 99 degrees. Still just warm water. Nothing special. But one more degree. 100, and suddenly boiling. A complete change of state. From liquid to gas. Transformation. That's the plateau. All that time when nothing seems to change. You're approaching 100 degrees. You're building toward the transformation. But you can't see it yet. The ones who quit, they stop at 95 degrees. 98, 99. Just before the boil. And they never know how close they were. The ones who rise, they keep applying heat. They trust the process. They know the boil is coming even when they can't see it yet. Learning from failure. The giant doesn't avoid failure. The giant uses failure as data. Every setback is information. What worked? What didn't? What needs to change? What needs more development? The small self interprets failure as identity. I failed, therefore I'm a failure. The giant interprets failure as event. That didn't work. Interesting. What will I try next? This shift is everything. It transforms failure from defeat into education, from ending into feedback, from evidence of limitation into direction for growth. The most powerful people you know have failed more than most people have tried. They've been rejected more, lost more, fallen more, and gotten up more. Not because they're special, because they understand that failure is the tuition you pay for success. You will fail. Many times. In many ways. That's not a warning. That's a promise. If you're not failing, you're not climbing. You're not risking enough. You're not trying hard enough. The question is not whether you'll fail. The question is whether you'll learn from it or be defeated by it. Surrounding yourself with giants. You become like the people you spend time with. This is not opinion. It's observable fact. Your income will approximate the average of your 5 closest friends. Your habits will mirror theirs. Your beliefs will align with theirs. Your limitations will match theirs. If you surround yourself with people playing small, you'll play small. If you surround yourself with people who've given up, you'll want to give up. If you surround yourself with people who fear judgment, you'll fear judgment. But if you surround yourself with giants, with people living at full power, with people who've broken their chains and are rising, something shifts. Their normal becomes your normal. Their standards become your standards. Their possibilities become your possibilities. This doesn't mean abandoning everyone in your life. It means being intentional about who influences you, who you give access to your mind, who you allow to shape your reality. Some relationships will naturally fall away as you rise, not because you're better than them, because you're operating at a different frequency. Let them go, with love, with gratitude, but let them go, and actively seek out the giants, the ones who inspire you, challenge you, call you higher, make you uncomfortable with your own smallness. Those are your people. Build with them, rise with them. The climb is not meant to be solitary. The lone wolf mythology is bullshit. The strongest giants climb together. They push each other, catch each other, challenge each other, celebrate each other. Find your climbing partners. Rise together. Chapter 6. The Power of No. One of the most powerful abilities of the giant is the ability to say a no. Not occasionally, not reluctantly, but easily. Frequently, unapologetically. The small self says yes to everything. Yes to demands. Yes to expectations. Yes to opportunities that don't serve them. Yes to people who drain them. Yes to obligations that distract them. Yes, 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 until their life is completely full of other people's priorities. The giant understands something crucial. Every yes to something is a no to everything else. When you say yes to that meeting, you're saying no to focused work. When you say yes to that commitment, you're saying no to rest. When you say yes to someone else's agenda, you're saying no to your own. Most people have this backwards. They say yes as their default and no reluctantly. They need reasons to say no. Excuses. Apologies. The giant operates differently. No is the default. Yes is reserved for the exceptional, the opportunities that truly align, the people who truly matter, the commitments that truly serve the mission. Here's how to develop this power. Clarity of mission. You can't say no powerfully without knowing what you're saying yes to. Without a clear mission, every opportunity seems equally valid. Every request seems reasonable. Every obligation seems necessary. But when you are crystal clear on your mission, your priorities, your non-negotiables, decisions become simple. Does this serve the mission? Yes. Consider it. No. Decline immediately. The giant has ruthless clarity about what matters, what doesn't, where time and energy go, what deserves attention, what doesn't. This clarity becomes your filter, your protection, your power, the cost of yes. Before saying yes to anything, calculate the cost, not just the time it takes, the opportunity cost. What are you not doing because you're doing this? What are you sacrificing? What are you giving up? That networking event might only take 2 hours, but those are 2 hours you could have spent on your project, your health, your family, your rest, your growth. Is the networking event worth more than those alternatives? Maybe, maybe not, but you need to count the cost. Most people don't. They say yes without calculating, and then they wonder why they're always busy but never fulfilled. Why they're always doing things but never achieving things. The giant counts every cost, and only pays for what's worth it, saying no without explanation. Here's where most people struggle. They feel they need to justify their no, to explain, to apologize, to provide reasons that satisfy the other person. But here's the truth. No is a complete sentence. Can you take on this project? No. Will you attend this event? No. Can I have some of your time? No. No explanation needed. No apology required. No justification necessary. This feels rude at first, because you've been conditioned to believe that other people's feelings are your responsibility, that their disappointment is your problem, that their inconvenience is your concern. But it's not. You're not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You're responsible for managing your energy, time, and priorities. No delivered kindly but firmly is not rude. It's honest. It's respectful. It respects both them and you. You're not leading them on. You're not saying maybe when you mean no. You're giving them a clear answer so they can move forward. If they're offended by your clear no, that's about them, not you. They want control over your choices. They want you to prioritize their needs over yours. They want you to stay small so they feel comfortable. The giant doesn't accommodate that. Ever. Dealing with pushback. Some people won't accept your no. They'll push back, guilt trip, manipulate, try to convince you. But I really need you. But everyone else is doing it. But you used to always say yes. But I thought we were friends. These are manipulation tactics. Sometimes conscious, sometimes unconscious. Either way, the goal is the same. Override your no and get you to comply. The giant doesn't engage, doesn't debate, doesn't defend the decision. Just repeats the no. Calmly, clearly, firmly. I understand you're disappointed. My answer is still no. I hear that you need help. I'm not available. I know this is different from before. Things have changed. My answer is no. Broken record technique. No anger. No defensiveness. Just repetition. Eventually, they either accept it or reveal that they never respected your boundaries in the first place. Either way, you get clarity. The freedom of no. Here's what happens when you develop the power of no. Your life becomes yours again. Your calendar becomes a reflection of your priorities, not everyone else's. Your energy goes toward what matters to you, not what matters to others. Your time becomes valuable because you treat it as valuable. You stop being exhausted. Stop being resentful. Stop being overwhelmed. Not because you're doing less, though you might be. Because you're doing what matters, what aligns, what serves your mission. And paradoxically, you become more valuable. When you're selective about your yes mean more. When you guard your time fiercely, people respect your time more. When you say no to most things, the things you say yes to get your full attention and full power. Scarcity creates value, The giant who says yes to everything is common, easily accessible, taken for granted. The giant who says yes rarely, but fully, is precious, sought after, respected. Guard your no. It's one of your greatest powers. Chapter 7. The Warrior's Body. The giant doesn't rise only in the mind. It rises in the body. Your physical state, i.e. your mental state. Your body, i.e. your power. Think about the last time you felt truly powerful, truly confident, truly unstoppable. I'd bet money your body was in a powerful state, standing tall, breathing deeply, moving with purpose, physically strong. Now think about the last time you felt weak, defeated, overwhelmed. I'd bet your body was in a weak state, collapsed posture, shallow breathing, minimal movement, physically exhausted. This is not coincidence. Your physiology directly affects your psychology. Your body state produces your mental state, which means if you want to rise mentally, you must rise physically. Let's talk about building the warrior's body. Training as ritual. The gym is not just about building muscle. It's about building will. Every workout is a negotiation between the part of you that wants to quit and the part that refuses to. The weights don't care about your excuses. The miles don't care about your feelings. The reps don't care about your mood. They demand effort regardless. And when you give that effort, when you push through the discomfort, when you complete the workout even though everything in you wanted to quit, something shifts. You prove to yourself that you can override your impulses, that you can choose discipline over desire, that you can suffer voluntarily and emerge stronger. This lesson transfers to everything. The discipline you build in the gym shows up in your work, your relationships, your life. The warrior's body creates the warrior's mind. It doesn't matter what form your training takes. Lifting, running, martial arts, yoga, swimming, rock climbing, whatever demands effort and growth, whatever requires you to push beyond comfort. What matters is consistency, daily practice, making training non-negotiable, not because you feel like it, because you're building something. The posture of power. Your posture literally changes your hormones. Studies show that holding a powerful posture for just 2 minutes increases testosterone and decreases cortisol. You become biochemically more confident and less stressed just by standing differently. The small self collapses. Shoulders forward, chest caved, head down, making themselves physically small to match their psychological smallness. The giant expands. Shoulders back, chest open, head high, spine vertical, taking up appropriate space. This isn't just about looking confident. It's about being confident. Your body tells your brain what to feel. When you stand powerfully, your brain receives the message, I am powerful. Practice this. Every morning, spend 2 minutes in a power pose. Hands on hips, feet apart, chest open, or arms raised in victory, or standing tall with shoulders back. Feel ridiculous? Good. That means you're not used to occupying your full physical power. Do it anyway. Throughout the day, check your posture. Collapsed, adjust, hunched, straighten, head down, lifted. Your body is communicating constantly. Make sure it's communicating power, not defeat. Breath and presence. Most people breathe shallowly, upper chest only, barely enough oxygen to survive. Breath of anxiety, breath of stress, breath of someone trying to minimize their existence. The giant breathes deeply, into the belly, full breaths, oxygen flooding the system. Breath of calm, breath of power, breath of someone fully inhabiting their body. Your breath is the bridge between unconscious and conscious, between automatic and intentional, between reactive and responsive. When stress hits, your breath becomes shallow automatically. But if you consciously deepen your breath, You override the stress response. You signal to your nervous system, I'm safe. I'm in control. I'm powerful. Practice this several times a day. Take 10 deep breaths. For seconds in through the nose. Hold for 4. For seconds out through the mouth. Hold for 4. Repeat. This simple practice grounds you in your body, brings you into the present, activates calm, restores power. The giant lives in the body, not just in the head. Breath keeps you there. Physical challenges. The warrior's body is built through challenge, not just in the gym, through physical experiences that demand courage. Learn to fight. Take a martial arts class, not just for self-defense, for the experience of controlled violence, for the understanding of what your body can do under pressure, for the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle physical threat. Do something that scares you physically. Skydiving, rock climbing, surfing, cold plunges. Whatever makes your heart race and your survival instinct scream. These experiences teach your nervous system a crucial lesson. I can handle this. I can face fear and survive. I can override my panic and act effectively. This translates to every area of life. When you've jumped out of a plane, a difficult conversation doesn't seem so scary. When you face someone in the ring, a job interview doesn't rattle you. When you've conquered physical fear, psychological fear has less power. The warrior's body is tested, challenged, proven, and through that testing, it becomes a source of unshakable confidence. Maintaining the machine. Your body is the vehicle for your power. Neglect it, and everything suffers. Your energy, your mood, your capacity, your presence. All of it depends on your physical state. Sleep enough. Real sleep. 7 to 9 hours. Not negotiable. The giant doesn't rise on 4 hours of sleep and caffeine. Eat well. Real food. Protein. Vegetables. Healthy fats. Fuel for performance. Not just pleasure. Your body is a machine. Feed it correctly. Move daily. Walk. Stretch. Play. Movement is life. Stillness is stagnation. Rest. Actual rest. Not scrolling. Not TV. Rest. Downtime where your nervous system can recover. These aren't luxuries. They're requirements. You cannot rise with a body that's exhausted, malnourished, and sedentary. The warrior's body is a temple, not in some abstract spiritual sense, in a practical, functional sense. It's where your power lives. It's what carries you through the climb. It's what allows you to sustain the effort required to rise. Treat it accordingly. The giant rises in the mind, but stands on the foundation of the body. Build that foundation strong, and everything else becomes possible. Chapter 8. The Mental Fortress. Physical power without mental power is nothing. The strongest body crumbles under a weak mind, but a strong mind can push a weak body to extraordinary achievements. The rising giant must build a mental fortress, unshakable, impenetrable, untouchable by external chaos or internal doubt. Let's build yours. Reality versus story. Your mind is a storytelling machine. It takes data and creates narratives. The problem? Most of your stories are fiction, interpretations, assumptions, fears disguised as facts. Someone doesn't respond to your message. Your mind creates a story. They're mad at me. They don't like me. I said something wrong. None of this is fact. It's story. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they're dealing with something personal. Infinite possibilities. But your mind selects the story that confirms your fears. The giant distinguishes between reality and story, between what actually happened and what your mind claims it means. Practice this. When you feel upset, anxious, or reactive, ask yourself, what is the actual fact here? What do I know versus what am I assuming? Usually the fact is small. Someone didn't respond. Someone said something. Something didn't go as planned. These are neutral facts. But your interpretation, your story about what it means, that's where the suffering comes from. Not from the fact, from the story. Change the story, change your experience. Or better yet, drop the story entirely and just deal with the fact. Thought discipline. Your mind will think thousands of thoughts today. Most of them useless. Many actively harmful. Worries about things that won't happen. Judgments that don't serve you. Doubts that undermine you. Distractions that derail you. The small self lets the mind run wild. Whatever pops and gets attention. Whatever fear arises gets believed. Whatever distraction appears gets followed. The giant is thought discipline. Not every thought gets attention. Not every fear gets belief. Not every distraction gets followed. Think of your mind like a house. Thoughts are visitors knocking on the door. You don't have to let them all in. You can look through the window, assess them, and decide. This one serves me. Let it in. This one doesn't. Leave it outside. Worry. Acknowledge it, don't entertain it. Doubt. Note it, don't believe it. Distraction. See it, don't follow it. This doesn't mean suppressing thoughts. It means choosing which ones get your energy. Your attention is finite. Spend it wisely. The observer position. Here's a powerful shift. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that notices the thoughts. Your mind says, I'm not good enough. But who hears that thought? Who notices it? That observer. That's the real you. The thought is just something passing through awareness. When you identify with the thought, you suffer. I'm not good enough feels like truth. Feels like identity. Feels devastating. But when you observe the thought, it loses power. Oh, there's that old thought again. I'm not good enough. Interesting. It shows up often. Now it's just a thought. Not truth. Not identity. Just mental noise. Practice observer position. Throughout the day, notice your thoughts without identifying with them. There's a worried thought. There's a doubtful thought. There's an anxious thought. Create distance, space, perspective. And in that space, you have choice. The thought doesn't control you. You choose what to do with it. Mental toughness training. Your mind is like a muscle. It gets stronger through progressive resistance. You build mental toughness by deliberately doing hard things, by choosing discomfort, by pushing through when everything in you wants to quit. Cold showers are mental toughness training. Your body screams to get out. You stay. You breathe. You override the panic. You prove you're in control. Hard workouts are mental toughness training. Your muscles burn. Your lungs heave. Everything hurts. You complete the set. You prove you can endure. Difficult conversations are mental toughness training. Everything in you wants to avoid conflict. You have the conversation anyway. You prove you can face discomfort. Every time you do the hard thing, the next hard thing becomes slightly easier. Not because it's objectively easier, because you're mentally stronger. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, seeking comfort, taking the easy path, and then they wonder why they're mentally weak, why they crumble under pressure, why they can't handle adversity. The giant deliberately seeks discomfort, not because it's pleasant, because it builds strength. Mental toughness is the foundation of all power. Without it, everything crumbles. Reframing adversity. Your interpretation of adversity determines your response to it. The same event can destroy one person and forge another. The difference. Interpretation. Lose your job. One interpretation. I'm a failure. My life is over. I'll never recover. Result. Depression, paralysis, giving up. Same event. Different interpretation. This is an opportunity. A forced reset. Time to pursue what I actually want. Result. Action. pivoting, growth. Same fact, different story, completely different outcome. The giant doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The giant asks, "What is this teaching me? How can I use this? What opportunity is hidden here?" This isn't toxic positivity. It's strategic thinking. Adversity happens. That's not in question. But your response is in your control. And your response determines whether adversity defeats you or develops you. Practice reframing. Every setback, immediately ask, "What's useful about this? What can I learn? How can this make me stronger?" Not to deny the difficulty, to extract value from it, to transmute pain into power. The fortress holds. When you build the mental fortress, mental discipline, thought control, observer perspective, mental toughness, strategic reframing, you become unshakable. Criticism doesn't penetrate. Setbacks don't defeat you. Pressure doesn't crack you. Chaos doesn't overwhelm you. Not because life becomes easier, because you become stronger. Strong enough to handle whatever comes. Strong enough to keep rising regardless of circumstance. The body is the giant's foundation. The mind is the giant's fortress. Build both strong, and nothing can stop your rise. Chapter 9. The magnetism. As you rise, something interesting happens. You become magnetic. People are drawn to you. Opportunities come to you. Doors open seemingly without effort. This isn't magic. It's energy. Specifically, it's the energy shift that happens when someone steps fully into their power. Most people operate at a low frequency. Fear, doubt, scarcity, need. This frequency repels. It pushes opportunities away. It makes people want to keep their distance. But when you rise, when the giant fully awakens, you operate at a different frequency. Confidence, certainty, abundance, self-sufficiency. This frequency attracts. It pulls opportunities toward you. It makes people want to be near you. Let's understand how to cultivate this magnetism. The frequency of certainty. Certainty is attractive. Not arrogance. Not blind confidence. Certainty. The quiet knowing that regardless of what happens, you'll be fine. You'll handle it. You'll figure it out. This certainty comes from evidence. From having faced challenges before and survived. From having taken risks and handled both success and failure. From knowing your capabilities through testing them repeatedly. When you carry this certainty, people feel it. They relax around you. They trust you. They want to follow you. Because your certainty gives them certainty. Contrast this with neediness. The energy of someone who needs the approval, the outcome, the validation. That energy is repellent. It makes people uncomfortable. It pushes them away. Work on building genuine certainty, not by pretending, by creating evidence, by taking risks, by handling outcomes, by proving to yourself repeatedly that you can handle whatever comes. The frequency of certainty is magnetic. Everything flows toward it. The power of indifference. Paradoxically, the more you need something, the less likely you are to get it. The more attached you are to an outcome, the more desperate energy you project, and the more that desperation repels what you want. But when you're indifferent, when you want something but don't need it, when you can take it or leave it, suddenly it becomes available. This shows up everywhere. The job you desperately need, they sense your desperation and pass. The job you're considering but don't desperately need, they want you more. The relationship you're clinging to, it dissolves. The relationship where you're content with or without it, it flourishes. The deal you're attached to falls through. The deal you're willing to walk away from closes easily. This isn't about not caring. It's about non-attachment. Pursuing things fully while knowing you'll be fine either way. Wanting things while not needing them for your sense of worth or security. The giant wants powerfully, but doesn't need desperately. This combination is irresistibly magnetic. The abundance mindset. Scarcity repels. The belief that there's not enough. Not enough opportunities. Not enough success. Not enough love. Not enough resources. This belief creates hoarding energy, grasping energy, desperate energy. Abundance attracts. The belief that there's more than enough. That opportunities are infinite. That success is available to all. That resources flow freely. This belief creates generous energy, sharing energy, confident energy. The interesting thing, these are both self-fulfilling prophecies. Operate from scarcity, and you'll experience scarcity. Operate from abundance, and you'll experience abundance. Not because the universe responds to your thoughts, because you take completely different actions based on your beliefs. Scarcity makes you hoard, grasp, protect. Abundance makes you share, give, risk. And sharing, giving, risking creates more opportunities than hoarding ever could. Practice abundance thinking. When you catch yourself in scarcity, there's not enough. I might miss out. I need to protect what I have. Shift to abundance. There's more than enough. More opportunities will come. I can afford to be generous. This shift changes your energy, and your energy changes what you attract. Authentic generosity. When you're secure in your power, you can be genuinely generous, with praise, with support, with attention, with resources, with opportunities. You're not threatened by other people's success. You can celebrate it. You can help create it, because their success doesn't diminish yours. There's enough for everyone. This generosity is magnetic. People want to be around generous people. They want to support generous people. They want to create opportunities for generous people. Contrast this with people who are competitive about everything, who can't celebrate others, who hoard resources and opportunities, who always need to be the star. People tolerate them out of necessity, but avoid them when possible. The giant is secure enough to be generous, and that generosity creates a field that attracts everything. Presence and attention. In a world of distraction, presence is rare. Most people are physically present, but mentally elsewhere, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, lost in their phone, scattered across a dozen concerns. When you give someone your full attention, your full presence, they feel it, and it's intoxicating, because it's so rare. Practice this. When talking to someone, be there, not planning your response, not checking your phone, not thinking about your to-do list. Just there, listening, present, attentive. Watch how people respond. They open up. They share more. They trust faster. They remember you, because you gave them something rare, your full presence. This applies to everything. When you're working, be fully there. When you're training, be fully there. When you're with loved ones, be fully there. Full presence is magnetic. It creates depth, connection, impact. It makes every interaction more powerful. The compound effect. As you cultivate these qualities, certainty, non-attachment, abundance, generosity, presence, they compound. Your magnetic field strengthens. More opportunities, more connections, more resources, more influence. And here's what's beautiful. You don't have to chase anymore. You don't have to force. You don't have to manipulate or scheme or hustle desperately. You just rise. And as you rise, everything you need rises with you. Not through magic, through the simple fact that powerful, certain, generous, present people attract resources. Always have. Always will. The giant doesn't chase. The giant attracts. Build the magnetic field through authentic power, and watch what comes. Chapter 10, The Legacy. At some point in your rise, a question emerges. What's this for? What am I building? What will remain when I'm gone? The small self doesn't think about legacy. It's too focused on immediate comfort, immediate pleasure, immediate safety. It lives day to day, consuming, distracting, existing. But the giant thinks in decades, in generations, an impact that outlasts the physical body. This isn't about ego. It's about purpose. It's about recognizing that your time here is limited, and that recognition gives urgency and meaning to everything you do. Let's talk about building something that lasts, beyond yourself. The truest test of power is this: does it serve only you, or does it serve something greater? Power used purely for personal benefit is small, hollow, ultimately meaningless. You accumulate, consume, and die, and it all disappears with you. But power used in service of something greater, that's how you become immortal. Your body dies, but your impact continues. Your work continues. Your influence continues. Think about the people who've most influenced your life. Probably not the richest people in history. Probably not the most powerful. But people who created something meaningful, who taught something valuable, who built something that served others. That's legacy. Not how much you accumulate, but how much you contribute. The rising giant eventually asks, how does my power serve others? How does my strength lift others? How does my rising help others rise? And in answering that question, the rise gains meaning beyond personal achievement. Creating versus consuming. Most people are pure consumers. They consume content, consume products, consume experiences. They take, and create nothing. But legacy comes from creation, from adding to the world instead of just taking from it. What are you building? What are you making? What are you contributing? It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to change the world. But it has to be something. Something that outlasts you. Something that adds value. Something that wouldn't exist if you didn't exist. Maybe it's art, music, writing. Maybe it's a business that solves real problems. Maybe it's a family you raise with intention. Maybe it's knowledge you share. Maybe it's a community you build. Whatever it is, it's something you made. Not consumed. Not accumulated. Made. The giant is a creator. And creation is how you transcend your own mortality. Planting trees. There's an old saying. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they'll never sit in. That's legacy thinking. Investing in things that won't benefit you, that will benefit those who come after. Building infrastructure that will serve the next generation. Teaching knowledge that will compound in your students. Creating systems that will continue working after you're gone. Solving problems that won't be fully solved in your lifetime. This is the opposite of short-term thinking, of quarterly results, of immediate gratification. This is thinking in decades, in generations, an impact that extends far beyond your death. The giant plants trees, knowing the shade is for others, doing it anyway. The work that lasts. What kind of work lasts? Not the work that chases trends. Not the work that's purely transactional. Not the work that's built on manipulation or exploitation. The work that lasts is authentic. It comes from your genuine self, your real passions, your actual values. Not what you think will sell. Not what's popular. What's true for you. The work that lasts is excellent. It's the best you can do. Not perfect, but excellent. You don't cut corners. You don't ship mediocrity. You do it right even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. The work that lasts serves. It solves real problems. Meets real needs. Creates real value. It's not just about your expression. It's about contribution. The work that lasts is consistent. Not one big achievement, but sustained effort over years. Building, refining, improving, showing up daily to do the work. This combination, authentic, excellent, service-oriented, consistent work, That's how you build something that outlasts you. The ripple effect. Here's the beautiful thing about legacy. You can't fully see it. You can't measure it. Because the ripple effect extends beyond your visibility. You teach someone something valuable. They apply it. They teach it to others, who teach it to others. The knowledge compounds and spreads. You've changed hundreds of lives, maybe thousands, and you'll never know most of them. You create something meaningful. Someone experiences it at exactly the moment they needed it. It shifts their perspective, changes their trajectory. They go on to create something meaningful. Your creation inspired their creation. The impact compounds. You model possibility. You show someone that the cage can be broken. The chains can be shattered. The giant can rise. They never speak to you, but they remember you. And they rise and show others. The rising spreads. This is legacy, not control, not ownership. Influence. Impact that spreads beyond your ability to track it. You won't see most of your legacy. You'll be dead, but it will continue. Compounding, spreading, growing. That's immortality. Not living forever, but creating impact that does. The giant's responsibility. With power comes responsibility, not obligation imposed by others. Responsibility you choose because you recognize the weight of influence. The giant has power. That power can build or destroy, create or consume, lift or crush. The choice is always yours. But once you recognize your power, you can't unknow it. You can't pretend you don't have influence. You can't act as if your choices don't matter. They do. They ripple. They compound. They affect not just you, but everyone your life touches. The giant recognizes this and chooses to use power in service of something meaningful, something lasting, something worth building. Not because you have to, because you're called to, because power without purpose is empty, because rising without lifting others feels hollow, because legacy without meaning is just ego. You've broken your chains. You've awakened your giant. You're rising. Now the question is, what will you build with this power? What will remain when you're gone? How will the world be different because you rose? This is the final stage of rising. Not just becoming powerful, but using that power to create something that matters, something that lasts, something that makes the climb worth every difficult step. The Titan rises, and in rising, lifts the world. Chapter 11, The Unstoppable. There comes a point in the rise when something fundamental shifts. You stop being someone trying to be powerful. You become someone who is powerful. Stop being someone working toward confidence. You become someone who is confident. The difference is not semantic. It's experiential, cellular, complete. This is the state of being unstoppable. Not because nothing can hurt you. Everything can hurt you. Not because you don't fail. You fail constantly. Not because you don't doubt. Doubt still whispers. Unstoppable means nothing stops you. Not failure. Not criticism. Not setbacks. Not fear. Not pain. Not exhaustion. Nothing. You keep moving. Keep rising. Keep building. Always. Let me show you what unstoppable looks like. Beyond motivation. Motivated people need reasons to act. They need to feel inspired. They need circumstances to be right. They need momentum. When motivation fades, their action stops. Unstoppable people don't need motivation. They have something deeper, commitment. A decision so fundamental that motivation is irrelevant. You don't need motivation to breathe, to eat, to sleep. These things happen because they're non-negotiable for survival. The unstoppable make their mission non-negotiable the same way. Not up for debate. Not dependent on feelings. Not optional. Just what they do. Rain. They train. Tired. They work. Scared. They act. Doubtful. They move forward anyway. Not because they're superhuman, because they've made a decision so deep that feelings don't get a vote. This is the shift from being motivated to being committed, from doing things when you feel like it to doing things, especially when you don't feel like it. The relentless standard. Unstoppable people have a standard, an internal bar they refuse to drop below. Not for convenience, not for comfort, not for anyone. This standard is not perfectionism. Perfectionism is paralysis. The standard is excellence within your current capacity, giving your best with what you have where you are. Some days your best is 100%. Some days it's 60%. The standard isn't a percentage. The standard is, whatever you've got today, you give it all. This prevents the slow degradation that destroys most people, the gradual lowering of standards, the small compromises, the just this once that becomes just every time. The unstoppable notice the slide immediately and correct, not with self-judgment, with self-respect. This is below my standard. Adjusting. The standard is the floor below which you will not fall. Protect it fiercely, because the moment you let it drop, momentum dies. Immunity to circumstances. Unstoppable people don't need perfect conditions. They don't wait for things to be just right. They work with what they have, where they are. Now, economy crashing. They build. Resources limited. They find a way. Support lacking. They go solo. Every excuse is met with, "So what? I'm doing it anyway." This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality stop you. Yes, it's hard. Yes, circumstances aren't ideal. Yes, you don't have everything you want. And you move forward anyway. Most people use circumstances as permission to quit, to delay, to make excuses. Unstoppable people use circumstances as constraints that force creativity and resourcefulness. Can't afford the expensive option? Build the cheap version. Don't have the perfect team? Start solo. Don't have the ideal timing? Start now anyway. Circumstances are irrelevant. Action is everything. The long game. Unstoppable people think in decades. They're playing a different game than everyone else. While others optimize for this quarter, this year, this immediate result, unstoppable people are building for 10 years from now. 20, 50. This changes everything. Because when you're playing a long game, short-term setbacks don't matter. This failure, irrelevant in the 10-year context. This rejection, doesn't even register. This delay, barely a blip. The long game gives you patience, resilience, perspective. Things that would devastate someone focused on immediate results barely touch you because you're measuring on a completely different timeline. You lose a battle, but you're fighting a war that lasts decades. One battle means nothing. You keep fighting. The unstoppable understand that success is not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's an ultramarathon that lasts your entire life. Pacing matters. Consistency matters. Staying in the game matters. Quick wins are nice, but lasting impact requires sustained effort over years. The unstoppable are prepared for that, expected it, planned for it, learning from everything. The unstoppable extract lesson from every experience. Success. What worked that I can repeat? Failure. What didn't work that I need to change? Criticism. What's the useful feedback hidden in this? Every event is data. Every outcome is information. Every interaction is education. Nothing is wasted. Everything serves the mission. This transforms failure from defeat into feedback. You didn't lose. You learned. You didn't waste time. You gathered data. You didn't make a mistake. You ran an experiment. This reframing is not delusion. It's strategic thinking. The person who learns from everything advances faster than the person who's defensive about failures and blind to lessons. The unstoppable are perpetual students. Not because they don't know enough, because they know that the learning never ends. Every level brings new lessons. Every achievement reveals new challenges. The learning is infinite. Stay curious. Stay teachable. Stay willing to be wrong. That's how you stay unstoppable. The proof of rising. You know you've become unstoppable when external circumstances no longer dictate your state. When your confidence comes from within, not from outcomes. When you keep moving regardless of results. You know you've become unstoppable when people can no longer discourage you. When criticism slides off. When doubt has no power. When fear is present but not in control. You know you've become unstoppable when you look back at what used to terrify you and barely recognize that fear. When things that would have paralyzed old you barely make current you pause. You know you've become unstoppable when you've gone so far beyond your old limitations that your current normal would have been your past impossible. This is what rising creates. Not just achievement, not just success. Transformation. You become someone fundamentally different. Someone operating at a level that your past self couldn't even imagine. The giant has risen. Fully. Completely. Unstoppably. And nothing can put it back to sleep. Conclusion. The eternal rise. The Titan rises. This is not a past event. Not a future hope. A present reality. Right now, in this moment, the Titan is rising. In you. Through you. As you. Every word you've read. Every principle you've absorbed. Every moment of recognition where you thought, yes, that's me. That's what I need. That was the Titan stirring. Waking. Rising. But let me tell you something crucial. The rise never ends. This is not a destination you reach, and then you're done. Congratulations, you're now powerful. Enjoy your life. No, the Titan rises eternally. There's no peak, no arrival, no final form. Just continuous expansion, endless growth, perpetual rising. Every level you reach reveals a higher level. Every chain you break reveals another one. Every giant you become reveals an even greater giant waiting inside. This is not discouraging. This is liberating, because it means the game never ends. The adventure never stops. The growth never plateaus. You will never be finished. You will never be complete. You will never arrive. You will always be rising. And that's exactly how it should be. So what now? Where do you go from here? You already know. Deep in your bones. Deep in your cells. Deep in the part of you that's been screaming for recognition your entire life. You rise. You act. You build. You create. You express. You contribute. You become. Not someday. Not when you're ready. Not when conditions are perfect. Now, the change you've identified. Break them. Today. Start with one. The tightest one. The one that's been strangling your power the longest. And snap it. The fear you've been avoiding? Face it. This week. Choose one thing that terrifies you and do it anyway. Prove to yourself that fear is not a cage. The giant you've been suppressing? Let it out. Stop apologizing. Stop shrinking. Stop playing small to make others comfortable. Take up your space. Use your voice. Express your power. The mission you've been postponing? Begin it. Now. Not the entire thing. Just the first step. Then the next. Then the next. Build momentum through action. The discipline you've been lacking. Install it. Pick one non-negotiable practice. Do it every day for 30 days. No exceptions. No excuses. Build the muscle of commitment. The legacy you want to leave. Start building it. Today. Create something. Contribute something. Plant a seed that will grow after you're gone. This is not inspiration. This is instruction. Take action. Immediately. Before the moment passes. Before doubt creeps back in. Before you talk yourself out of it. Because here's the truth. Reading this changes nothing. Understanding concepts changes nothing. Agreeing with principles changes nothing. Only action creates transformation. Only movement creates rising. So move, act, build, create, express, contribute, rise. The Titan within you is awake. It's ready. It's powerful. It's been waiting your entire life for this moment. Will you let it rise? Will you break the chains? Will you claim your power? Will you become who you were always meant to be? I already know your answer, because if you've read this far, you're not someone who plays small. You're not someone who settles. You're not someone content with mediocrity. You're a Titan, and Titans rise. It's what they do. It's what they've always done. It's what you will do. The world needs your power, your voice, your contribution. You're a giant. Don't keep it buried. Don't keep it caged. Don't keep it hidden. Let it out. Let it rise. Let it shake mountains and command storms and leave marks that cannot be erased. You were not born to be small. You were not born to be safe. You were not born to be comfortable. You were born to be a Titan, to do great things, to live fully, to express completely, to contribute massively, to rise endlessly. The burial is over. The awakening is complete. The chains are breaking. The giant is emerging. Now rise. Rise and claim your destiny. Rise and show the world what you're made of. Rise and become unstoppable. Rise and build something that lasts. Rise and leave a legacy that matters. The Titan within you is ready. It's been ready. It's always been ready. Now it's time for you to be ready too. To stop hesitating. Stop doubting. Stop waiting for permission that will never come. Just rise. Because that's what Titans do. That's what you do. That's who you are. Not someone becoming powerful. Someone who I ask powerful. Finally acknowledging it. Finally expressing it. Finally rising. Welcome to your power. Welcome to your magnitude. Welcome to your truth. Welcome to your rising. The Titan has awakened, and nothing can stop what comes next. Now go. Build your empire. Leave your mark. Change your world. Create your legacy. Live your magnitude. Rise, Titan. Rise. Your time is now. Subscriber call to action. If this audiobook resonated with you, if these words awakened something deep within, if you felt the Titan stirring as you listened, then I have one request. Subscribe to this channel. Join our community of rising Titans. Become part of the army that refuses to play small. Why subscribe? Because the rise is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice, a continuous journey, an eternal climb. And we create content specifically designed to support that journey. Every week, new audiobooks, new strategies, new principles, new wisdom, all focused on one thing: helping you rise, helping you break chains, helping you express your power, helping you build your legacy. When you subscribe, you're not just getting content. You're joining a movement, a tribe of people who've decided that small is no longer acceptable, that cages are meant to be broken, that chains are meant to be shattered, that Titans are meant to rise. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Never miss a new release. Because each audiobook is a tool. Each video is a weapon. Each piece of content is ammunition for your rise. And here's what I want you to do right now. While the Titan is awake, while the power is flowing, while you feel invincible, comment below. 3 words. I am rising. Not I want to rise. Not I hope to rise. Not maybe I'll rise. I am rising. Present tense. Current reality. Declaration of truth. Because words have power, and public declaration has even more power. When you type those 3 words and hit send, you're not just leaving a comment. You're making a commitment to yourself, to the Titan, to your future. I am rising. Type it. Feel it. Mean it. Because it's true. The fact that you're here, that you listened to this entire audiobook, that you absorbed these principles, that you felt the resonance, that proves you're rising. Already. Now, you're not the same person who started this audiobook. Something has shifted. Something has awakened. Something has risen. And if you want to accelerate that rise, if you want to go deeper, if you want more tools and more wisdom and more support, subscribe. Join us. Rise with us. Because Titans don't rise alone. They rise together. They push each other. They challenge each other. They celebrate each other. They build empires together. This community is your tribe. These audiobooks are your arsenal. This journey is your destiny. Subscribe. Comment I am rising. And prepare for the next level. Because if you thought this audiobook was powerful, wait until you experience what's coming next. We're just getting started. The rise has only begun, and the best is yet to come. Your transformation continues. Your power expands. Your Titan grows. And we'll be here, creating content to fuel that rise every single week. Hit subscribe. Leave your comment. And let's rise together. The Titan Army is forming. Will you join us? I already know the answer. Because you're a Titan, and Titans rise. See you in the next one. Stay powerful. Stay rising. Stay titanic. Rise. Special message to the one who completes. If you're reading this, you've done something rare. You've completed the entire audiobook. From first word to last. From introduction to conclusion. From burial to rising. Most people don't finish. They start. They get inspired. They feel the Titan stir. Then life happens. Distraction calls. Comfort beckons. And they quit before reaching the end. But not you. You finished. And that tells me everything I need to know about you. You're not a dabbler. Not a tourist. Not someone who samples transformation and then returns to comfort. You're committed. You're serious. You're ready. The completion of this audiobook is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning. Everything you've read, every principle you've absorbed, every story that resonated, every practice that challenged you, all of it was preparation, foundation, setup. Now comes the real work, the application, the living, the rising. You have a choice right now, a fork in the road, a decision that will determine everything that follows. Path 1. You close this book. You feel inspired. You think, that was powerful. I should really apply this. And then you don't. Life returns to normal. The inspiration fades. The Titan goes back to sleep. The chains reform. And a year from now, you're exactly where you are today. Maybe you listen to this audiobook again, feel inspired again, and still nothing changes. Path 2. You close this book. You feel inspired. And then you ACT. Immediately. Before the inspiration fades. Before doubt creeps back in. Before the chains can reform. You do one thing. One bold move. One chain broken. One risk taken. One fear faced. And then tomorrow another. And the next day another. Until the rising becomes unstoppable. Until the Titan becomes your natural state. Until transformation is complete. Which path will you choose? I can't choose for you. No one can. This is your decision. Your life. Your rise. But I can tell you what happens on each path. Because I've watched thousands of people reach this exact fork. And I've seen where each path leads. Path 1 leads to regret. To wondering what if. To knowing you had the knowledge and the tools and the opportunity, and you didn't use them. To looking back years from now and wishing you'd been braver, bolder, more committed. Path 2 leads to transformation, to becoming unrecognizable, to breaking free completely, to living as the Titan, to building something meaningful, to leaving a legacy, to looking back years from now and thinking, thank God I took the leap. Thank God I chose to rise. The knowledge alone changes nothing. Action changes everything. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, before you move on to the next thing, before you check your phone or return to your tasks or lose this moment, choose one action, one bold move inspired by this audiobook, one chain to break, one fear to face, one risk to take, just one thing. Maybe it's starting that project you've been postponing. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Maybe it's making that bold ask. Maybe it's ending that draining relationship. Maybe it's quitting that soul-sucking job. Maybe it's posting that creative work. Maybe it's just committing to the 30-day protocol. Whatever it is, do it. Today, this hour, this moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Don't wait until conditions are perfect. They'll never be perfect. Don't wait until you have a complete plan. You'll figure it out as you go. Just ACT. One bold move. Prove to yourself that you're not just inspired. You're transformed. Prove to the Titan that you're serious. Prove to the universe that you're ready. The fact that you finished this audiobook means you're different. Rare. Committed. Now prove it with action. Do one thing. Right now. Then come back and comment what you did. Not to impress us. To anchor the commitment. To make it real. To declare that the rising has begun. The Titan Army is waiting for you. Not just as a listener. As a riser. As someone actively transforming. As a Titan who's no longer hiding. Take the action. Leave the comment. Join the rise. And then watch what happens. Watch how one bold move leads to another. Watch how breaking one chain makes breaking the next easier. Watch how the Titan, once fully awakened, becomes unstoppable. This is your moment. Right now. Right here. This exact second. Will you choose path 1 or path 2? I already know. Because you finished the book. Because you're still reading. Because you're a Titan. You're choosing path 2. The path of action. The path of transformation. The path of rising. Now go prove it. Take the action. Break the chain. Face the fear. Make the move. Start the rise. And never look back. Your old life is over. Your new life begins now. The Titan has risen. And nothing will ever be the same. Welcome to your power. Welcome to your freedom. Welcome to your rise. Now go. Build. Create. Express. Contribute. Transform. Rise, Titan. Rise. Your empire awaits. Your legacy calls. Your destiny beckons. The time is now. Go. The rising protocol. Your first 72 hours. You finished the book. You've made the commitment. You've felt the power awakening. Now comes the most critical window. The next 72 hours. This is where most transformations die. Not from lack of desire. Not from lack of knowledge. From lack of immediate action. From letting the moment slip away. From allowing the ordinary to reclaim what the extraordinary briefly touched. You have 72 hours. 3 days. From this moment forward. To prove to yourself that this time is different. That you're not just inspired. That you're transformed. Here's your protocol. Your roadmap. Your battle plan for the first 3 days of your rise. Hour 1. Take the action you identified. The one thing. The bold move. The chain to break. Don't think about it. Don't plan it perfectly. Just do it. Imperfectly. Messily. But done. This first action is sacred. It's the difference between inspiration and transformation. Between words and reality. Between the old you and the Titan. Day 1. Document your rise. Open a journal, a note on your phone, a voice memo. Record this moment. Write down what you felt reading this book. What awakened in you. What you committed to. Why it matters. Who you're becoming. This documentation is your anchor. When doubt comes, and it will, you'll return to these words and remember who you decided to be. Day 2. Share your commitment. Tell one person about your rise. Not someone who will diminish it. Not someone who will laugh. Not someone who will say, "That's nice," and forget it. Tell someone who will hold you accountable. Someone who will check in. Someone who will celebrate your wins and challenge your excuses. The Titan doesn't rise in isolation. Share the rise. Make it real. Make it witnessed. Day 3. Install your first discipline. Choose one non-negotiable practice that embodies your rise. Maybe it's waking at 5 a.m. Maybe it's working on your project for 1 hour daily. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's creating. Whatever it is, do IT on day 3 and commit to 30 days. No exceptions. No negotiations. No, I'll start tomorrow. The discipline begins now. This is how Titans are forged. Through daily commitment. Through showing up when you don't feel like it. Through proving to yourself that you're serious. These 72 hours determine everything. They're the difference between transformation and just another inspiring book you once read. Between the Titan rising and the Titan returning to sleep. Between your old life continuing and your new life beginning. Protect these 72 hours. Guard them fiercely. Treat them as sacred. Because they are. They're the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. The resistance. What comes next? Let me tell you what's going to happen after the initial momentum fades. After the inspiration settles. After day 3 becomes day 10 becomes day 30. The resistance will come. And it will be fierce. Not external resistance. Not other people trying to stop you. The resistance that comes from within. From the part of you that's comfortable with chains. That's familiar with burial. That's afraid of the magnitude you're claiming. You'll wake up one morning and the fire will feel dim. The commitment will feel heavy. The rise will feel impossible. And a voice will whisper, "Who are you kidding? You're not a Titan. You're just you. Go back to sleep. Go back to comfortable. Go back to small." This is the moment. The moment that separates the dabblers from the risers. The tourists from the Titans. The inspired from the transformed. Most people hear that voice and believe it. They think, maybe it was just a phase. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should just accept who I am. And they quit. They go back. They rebury the giant. And they live with regret for the rest of their lives. But you're not most people. You're reading this section before that moment comes. So you'll be prepared. You'll recognize the resistance. You'll know what it is. And you'll know what to do. When the resistance comes, you don't fight it. You don't argue with it. You don't try to feel differently. You simply act anyway. You do the next right thing. You take the next step. You honor your commitment even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because here's the secret. The resistance isn't trying to stop you. It's testing you. It's asking, are you serious? Are you committed? Are you really a Titan, or are you just playing dress up? Your action is your answer. Not your feelings. Not your thoughts. Your action. When you act despite the resistance, you pass the test. The resistance retreats. The Titan strengthens. The rise continues. And then it comes again. At day 60. At day 90. At day 180. Different form, same test. Each time, you answer with action. Each time, you prove your commitment. Each time, the Titan grows stronger. This is the rise. Not constant inspiration. Not permanent motivation. Not endless high energy. But consistent action. Committed follow-through. Relentless persistence. Day after day. Step after step. Rise after rise. The resistance is not your enemy. It's your forge. The fire that burns away everything that's not Titanic. Everything that's not committed. Everything that's not rising, welcome it, expect it, and when it comes, ACT anyway. That's what Titans do. Your Titan tribe, the army rises together. You can't do this alone, and you don't have to. Somewhere right now, someone else is finishing this audiobook, feeling the same awakening, making the same commitment, choosing the same path. They're not competing with you. They're rising with you. The Titan Army is real, not a metaphor, not a marketing phrase. A living community of people who've decided that small is no longer acceptable. That chains are meant to be broken. That giants are meant to rise. When you subscribe to this channel, when you comment, "I am rising," you're not just consuming content. You're joining ranks. You're enlisting. You're becoming part of something bigger than yourself. And here's why that matters. On the days when your commitment wavers, their commitment will carry you. On the days when your fire dims, their fire will reignite yours. On the days when you question everything, their rise will remind you why you started. This is not about following a guru. This is not about worshiping a leader. This is about Titans recognizing Titans. Power acknowledging power. Giants supporting giants. Rising together. In the comment section, you'll find your tribe. People taking bold actions. People breaking chains. People facing fears. People building legacies. Real people. Real transformations. Real rising. Engage with them. Celebrate their wins. Share your progress. Ask for support. Offer encouragement. This is your army. Your battalion. Your tribe. Because the rise is more powerful when it's collective. When one Titan breaks through, it shows others the way. When one giant emerges, it gives permission for others to emerge. When one person rises, it creates a path for thousands more. You're not just transforming your own life. You're part of a movement, a wave of people who've decided that mediocrity is not acceptable. That buried power must be excavated. That chains must be shattered. That Titans must rise. Join the ranks. Find a tribe. Rise together. Because while one Titan is powerful, an army of Titans is unstoppable. The movement has begun. The army is forming. The rise is spreading. Will you be a soldier in this revolution? Will you stand with us? Will you rise with us? I already know the answer. Because you finished this book. You're already enlisted. You're already part of the army. Now it's time to stand with your fellow Titans and rise together. The world will never be the same. Because we're not just rising individually. We're rising collectively. And nothing can stop what's coming. Titans, assemble. Rise. The final transmission. This is where we part ways. Where the audiobook ends and your life begins. Where the words stop and the action starts. Where the Titan in the book becomes the Titan in the world. I've given you everything. Every principle. Every strategy. Every tool. Every insight. Every story. Every challenge. Every call to action. The map is complete. The path is clear. The choice is yours.